There are so many amazing animatronic restorers that we need to continue this series. Today, we're going to be taking a look at some more heroes that take abandoned and damaged animatronics and props and bring them back to life as if they were new. But first, if you consider yourself an animatronic fan, go and follow these restorers right now. Link in the description and in the comments.
Fastpass facts.
Norman, John Kolbeck. Back in 2004, Interpol released their second studio album, Antics, and the second single from this album was Evil. This single's music video, directed by Charlie White, shows a life-sized animatronic puppet who travels via ambulance to a hospital emergency room following a car crash, being examined by real-life actors as he sings the lyrics to the song, to dramatize the song's theme of losing oneself after a trauma, before breaking into a frantic dance on the operating table. White listened to the song on a loop for an entire weekend and hired the special effects team that had worked on the films Hellboy and Fantastic Four to create the puppet. The puppet's animatronic head was programmed to automatically sing the song. 6 puppeteers who needed to be digitally removed from the video were tasked with moving its eyes and body. The video was a huge hit among fans, who thought the animatronic was cute and creepy. They ended up calling him Norman, and he gained a huge cult following on Interpol's online message board shortly after the video premiered. But after a while, Norman was lost, and its whereabouts remained a mystery for almost a decade. When the video first came out, artist John Kolbeck remembers thinking that he would give anything to own Norman, and strangely, 17 years later, he ended up doing just that. John describes himself as a weird guy who's into weird stuff. He is an artist who grew up enjoying Jim Henson's creations and strange late-night TV. And according to him, this mix of interests has been reflected in the kind of work he does and the stuff he collects. Back in 2017, he created a YouTube channel about 2 animatronics that live in the underworld and go on adventures. But he never forgot about Norman. So he began doing an online search and came across this LA prop box where he could see a ghastly puppet that they had listed as a ghoul puppet from some music video. After closer inspection, he realized that the ghoul puppet was in fact Norman. He didn't lose a second before calling to ask about the animatronic, but to his horror, Norman was not only not available anymore, but he had been given away because nobody had wanted him. John thought his dream was over and he was ready to give up, but he decided to try one more thing. He asked for the help of his YouTube channel fans to search one last time for the animatronic. And to his luck, a fan actually said there was a guy on Facebook that was a prop collector, and he had Norman. With the help of his friends, family, and fans, he was able to pool funds together to buy Norman. Norman is now being used to host various videos on John's channel, and he has been semi-operating. But he is in terrible shape from years of neglect. It's really awful how he was treated after he was finished in the video. Servos are shot. His skin, which is like a Nerf football, is completely discolored and ripped. To be able to restore Norman back to his former glory, John contacted Luna's Puppets, a company that creates custom-made costumes, props, and animatronics. Once this was done and Norman is fixed up, John wants to put him back in the entertainment industry by giving him his own talk show, and also make sure that he never gets treated poorly again. But to be able to do this, John needs our help. He has until June 6th to get funds to restore Norman, and he has opened up a GoFundMe page so fans can help him out. He has almost reached the goal, plus some more for the shipping and insurance. And we know that the Duck Squad and animatronic fans can help him get to the final goal. We'll leave a link in the description so you can go and donate and help Norman get back to normal. Be sure to also follow John on Twitter, @KolbeckJohn, and Instagram, @John_Kolbeck, and @Norman_is_evil on Instagram. Also check out his channel, Odd Stories Wrapped in Plastic. Film and TV props, Kira Tidmore. We are huge horror and sci-fi film fans, and even though we are very impressed with how far technology and special effects have come in these types of films, we know that they will never replace the magic that props and animatronics give to a scene. We've talked many times before about the props used in films like Gremlins 2, Alien, Men in Black, Ghostbusters, and many more, and we are always heartbroken when we find out that they were abandoned or destroyed. But thankfully, that's not the case for every one of them. In comes Kira Tidmore, an excellent restorer and artist that has worked her magic on so many iconic props. Kira moved to Los Angeles 7 years ago from Alabama. Ever since she was a kid, Kira has always been an artist, ranging from drawing and painting to stitching and sculpting. She later settled on the idea of doing special effects makeup and started practicing all the time. A few months after she moved to LA, she met her neighbor who she learned restored props used on screen from television and movies, and also fabricated replica characters seen in pop culture, horror, and sci-fi. Kira began working side by side with him and learning the craft. She spent 3 years building creatures out of spare parts, handling fragile artifacts from cinema history, and putting her previous years of special effects makeup practice to great use. During this time, she worked on some fantastic pieces, like the Daffy Gremlin puppet. It was actually the first prop she restored. This puppet was designed for shots where Daffy's entire body had to be shown. When the puppet first arrived at the shop, it was in awful condition. It was missing its skin layer on its forearms and fingers. His jaw was completely agape and had no neck. But Kira worked her magic, and Daffy was just as new when she finished with him. One day, her business partner decided to stop working on prop restoration. By that time, Kira had been handling the majority of restoration for the company she was working with. So, she knew that this was the perfect time to branch out and create her own company and brand. And that's how she started KiraSphere. KiraSphere specializes in film and TV prop restoration and preservation. The majority of work she gets is usually from private collectors that want to restore these pieces, and she's worked on some seriously iconic pieces. Kira has restored over 40 props and 4 animatronics for movies like Nightmare on Elm Street, Beetlejuice, Men in Black, Gremlins 2, and many, many more. The process of restoring these props and animatronics depends on what condition it's in and what materials were used. Some of them take a few days, while others can take a few months. One of our favorite pieces to work on has been the Jason Voorhees split head animatronic from Friday the 13th, the final chapter. For this piece, a neck had to be created because its head was hanging on by a small piece of skin. Also, the split on the forehead was lifted and restored to prevent further tearing. Teeth and the bottom lip had to be hand sculpted, and then all the patched and restored areas were color matched and detailed. Another iconic piece she restored was the werewolf arm from the 1985 film Fright Night. Kira is a big fan of Fright Night, and the director himself brought the arm to her so that she could restore it to its former glory. But according to Kira, probably the largest portion of the business has come from the Alien series. At any given time, you can typically find a series of xenomorphs, facehuggers, or giant eggs scattered around the workshop. The thing that really sets KiraSphere apart is the quality. She sets the bar very high when it comes to restoring these amazing pieces, and she has really high standards, so each piece that comes out of her shop is perfect. You definitely need to check out her work, and you'll be amazed at how many impressive pieces she's worked on. Check out her website, kirasphere.net, and be sure to follow her on Instagram and Facebook @KiraSphere. We'll leave links in the description. Animatronic bands. Jack Turner. Guntown Mountain is a park with lots of history. It first opened in 1969 and remained open until 2013, when it had to close because it started losing popularity. The park remained abandoned for 2 years, until 2015, when Will Russell bought it, changed its name to Funtown Mountain, and reopened it. He planned to raise funds with a carnival road tour through 20 states where there would be a live band, a menagerie of freakish animals, and other strange memorabilia. But sadly, everything went wrong with his plan. Russell lost thousands of dollars, but despite this disaster, he reopened the park. The park's concept was pretty interesting. Part of the park kept some abandoned areas and had new attractions with animatronics. It also had Mitzi, Fots, and Billy Bob animatronics from the Rock-afire explosion. Sadly, the park stayed open for less than a year, because Russell's mental health was not stable. In one of his worst episodes, Russell started to destroy and vandalize the park, leaving it devastated, and the Rock-afire animatronics were abandoned in the dark and left to rot. After these episodes, the city shut down the property and put it up for auction along with the stuff inside. And thankfully, the Rock-afire explosion animatronics found their way into the hands of Jack Turner. Jack Turner is an animatronic restorer. He began his interest in animatronics at age 12 thanks to Five Nights at Freddy's. Although he wasn't a fan of the game, he was still intrigued by the concept of animatronics. So he began doing research on them and found that the Rock-afire explosion had inspired the game. He quickly became a fan of the band and started work on a prototype miniature Billy Bob doll. And then in June of 2015, he bought his first full animatronics character, Mitzi Mozzarella from Funtown Mountain. It took Jack a while to understand how the characters worked, but after about a year, he had Mitzi fully working. While he was working on Mitzi, he was also trying to get the Billy Bob animatronic from Funtown Mountain. Thankfully, he succeeded. He restored Billy Bob and got both of the animatronics running on his own MIDI control system. When they were done, he presented them at the Santa Clara Maker Fair in 2017. After this, Jack wanted to continue his work, and he began to search for a full Rock-afire show. He was able to purchase a center stage Rock-afire explosion from South Africa. All those characters went to other fans, except Fats, who he kept and restored to pristine condition. Then, in 2019, He brought the 3 fully restored Billy Bob, Mitzi, and Fats to the Maker Faire. That same year, using only a single image provided to him by a fan, Jack tracked down a full Rock-afire Explosion show that had been sitting since 1986. He was able to purchase this show, and he is currently restoring them and documenting everything for a series on his YouTube channel, SPT Production. He also has worked with Connor Lachinsky, another animatronics restorer who we have talked about in the first part of this series. They have worked together for many years and collaborated to find the missing Lynchburg Rock-afire Explosion show, but also, more importantly, the Gaslight Village Jamboree, which contained Wolfman, Friendly Freddy, as well as Fats. Jack had owned and restored over 40 animatronics, and they almost ended up with other fans. One of his recent restoration projects was to restore 3 Rock-afire Explosion characters for Harbor Farm and Vineyard, and he's replaced about 3 of the masks on Aaron Fechter's show. Apart from restoring the animatronics, Jack has also painted dozens of masks for private collectors. He is currently working on many projects, including the restoration of the full Rock-afire Explosion, which he says will be done by the end of the year, as well as the Gaslight Jamboree, and of course helping to recreate the materials necessary to restore Rock-afire Explosion characters. He has also had fur fabric produced in custom batches to exactly match the original Rock-afire fur, so fans will now be able to purchase this for their own characters. Jack has been supported throughout his 7-year journey by Aaron Fechter, who he considers a great friend and mentor. And in the future, he hopes to restore other rare shows like the Hard Luck Bears, Wolfpack 5, and continue to help fans along the way. He also plans to create his own custom characters. You can follow Jack Turner's journey and work on his YouTube channel, so go subscribe. We'll leave a link in the description. Beach Bear, Gabriel Studios. As animatronics fans, we know that the love of these machines starts early, and that is also the case with Gabriel Studios. Gabriel is 13 years old and lives in Louisiana, and he has always been interested in animatronics and how they work. He says that vintage technology has been one of his interests since he can remember, and so he wanted to work on a project that related to this. And the perfect moment came last year. When looking for a special project to work on, he went onto eBay. Here he found a Beach Bear animatronic, being auctioned off by none other than Jack Turner. He bid on it and won, and Beach Bear was his for $4,000. Gabriel brought this animatronic with plans of restoring it. His work began with the animatronic's body fur. When he got it, the body fur was very matted up. It looked like someone stored it in a box in the heat for a long time. So he cleaned and removed the mats from the fur and went on to the next step. Gabriel took the mechanism apart, re-greased everything, and replaced any parts that he found damaged. The animatronic's MAC values were in an awful condition when he got it, so he started replacing every seal in the valve bank. Next, Gabriel found a Beach Bear mask, and while it had a couple of rips around it, it was in pretty great condition, especially for its age. He was able to restore and repaint the mask using glue, and repainting it. Gabriel is still in the process of restoring Beach Bear, and he's doing a fantastic job. He hopes to eventually get everything running, including lights, get a full set of cosmetics, and finally build a stage for the animatronic. In the meantime, he is also restoring a Zufari and a Fruit Ninja game that he found in a dumpster at Chuck E. Cheese. They need a ton of work, but Gabriel has been working on them ever since, and hopefully, he will be able to restore them completely. You can follow Gabriel's journey on his YouTube channel, Gabriel Studios, and on Instagram, at Gabriel_Studios1. So, go check his work out. All of these amazing creators and restorers are a perfect example of the passion that runs in this great animatronics community. So please, go check out their channels and support them so you can learn more about what they do. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more animatronics and theme park stories.